Mike Tyson, known as Iron Mike, was a boxer who struck fear into the hearts of his opponents long before they ever stepped into the ring. At his peak, Tyson was a force of nature, a heavyweight champion who seemed almost invincible. But how good was prime Mike Tyson actually? In this deep dive, we'll explore his rise to greatness, his time at the top, and the factors that led to his downfall.
I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
Mike Tyson was born on June 30th, 1966, in Brownsville, Brooklyn, one of the most impoverished and crime-ridden neighborhoods in New York City. Tyson's childhood was marred by violence, poverty, and a lack of stability. His father abandoned the family when Tyson was just 2 years old, leaving his mother, Lorna, to raise him and his siblings alone. Tyson's environment was harsh. By the age of 10, he was already involved in petty crime, and by 13, he had been arrested numerous times. Tyson's early life was a constant struggle for survival, and he often resorted to fighting to defend himself on the streets. It was during this time that he discovered his natural talent for fighting. Tyson was a small, shy boy who was often bullied, but when pushed to the edge, he unleashed a ferocity that would later become his trademark in the ring. Tyson's life took a pivotal turn when he was sent to the Tryon School for Boys, a reform school in upstate New York at the age of 13. It was here that Tyson's raw talent was first noticed by Bobby Stewart, a juvenile detention center counselor and former boxer. Stewart introduced Tyson to the sport and quickly realized that the boy had an extraordinary gift. Stewart later introduced Tyson to the legendary boxing trainer, Cus D'Amato. D'Amato saw in Tyson not just a great fighter, but also a potential world champion. D'Amato became more than just a trainer to Tyson. He became a father figure, providing the stability and guidance that had been missing from Tyson's life. Under D'Amato's mentorship, Tyson was taught the peekaboo style of boxing, a defensive technique that allowed him to slip punches and counter with devastating force. D'Amato also instilled in Tyson the psychological mindset of a champion, teaching him that the mental game was just as important as the physical one.
And one day he used to say, listen, you have the chance to change your life, your family's life. You could be something very special. Don't you want to be champion? You could be champion of the world. And I didn't pay no attention to it. He said, really? You could be champion of the world. You could devastate the world. No man could take what you did. You just gotta believe it. And I started believing in this old man.
I can't say honestly I have a very deep affection for him, I do. To me, he's my boy, he's with me. But I often say to him, you know, I owe you a lot, and he doesn't know what I mean, but I'm gonna tell him now what I mean. If he weren't here, I probably wouldn't be alive today. The fact that he is here and doing what he's doing, and doing as well as he's doing, and improving as he has, gives me the motivation and interest to stay alive. Because I believe that a person dies when they no longer wants to live. But I have a reason with Mike here. And he gives me the motivation. I will stay alive, and I will watch him become a success. Because I will not leave until that happens.
Tyson's amateur career was brief but impressive. He won gold medals at the 1981 and 1982 Junior Olympic Games, knocking out opponents with such speed and power that he began to draw attention from the boxing world. His knockout of Joe Cortez in just 8 seconds remains the fastest in Junior Olympic history. Despite his early success, Tyson's amateur career was not without setbacks. He lost twice to Henry Tillman, a future Olympic gold medalist, but these losses only fueled Tyson's desire to improve. Tyson turned professional on March 6, 1985, at the age of 18. His professional debut was a statement of intent. He knocked out Hector Mercedes in the first round. This was the beginning of a meteoric rise in the boxing world. Tyson's early fights were nothing short of spectacular. He became known for his ferocious style, characterized by his relentless aggression, ability to deliver devastating knockouts. Tyson's opponents often found themselves overwhelmed by his intensity and physicality, unable to withstand his onslaught. In 1986, just a year after turning pro, Tyson's career reached new heights. He fought 13 times that year, winning every fight by knockout, and most of them in the first round. Tyson's ability to dispatch his opponents with such ease and speed earned him the nickname Iron Mike. He was a prodigy, a fighter unlike anything the boxing world had seen before. Tyson's big break came on November 22, 1986, when he faced Trevor Berbick for the WBC heavyweight title. Berbick was the last man to fight and defeat Muhammad Ali, and he was expected to give Tyson a tough fight. However, Tyson dismantled Berbick in just 2 rounds, knocking him down 3 times before the fight was stopped. At 20 years old, Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in history, a record that still stands today. After winning the WBC title, Tyson set his sights on unifying the heavyweight division. In 1987, he fought James Bone Crusher Smith for the WBA title and Tony Tucker for the IBF title. Both fights went the distance, but Tyson won by unanimous decision, becoming the first heavyweight to hold the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles simultaneously. Tyson's dominance in the ring was undeniable. He was not just winning, he was destroying his opponents, often before they had a chance to mount any meaningful offense. Tyson's success was largely due to the peekaboo style taught to him by Cus D'Amato. This style emphasized a high guard, with both hands held close to the face and a lot of head movement to avoid punches. Tyson used this technique to get inside his opponent's reach, where he could unleash his powerful hooks and uppercuts. His ability to slip punches and counter with devastating blows made him one of the most dangerous fighters in boxing history. Tyson's punching power was legendary. He had an uncanny ability to generate immense force with his punches, often ending fights with a single blow. His knockout ratio was among the highest in heavyweight history, and his speed and explosiveness made him a formidable opponent for anyone who stepped into the ring with him. Tyson's punches were not just powerful, they were also precise. He had a natural ability to find openings in his opponent's defenses and exploit them with devastating efficiency. During his prime, Tyson was more than just a boxer. He was an unstoppable force. His reputation preceded him. Opponents were often defeated before the fight even began, intimidated by Tyson's ferocity and the fearsome aura he carried into the ring. Tyson's pre-fight stare-downs became iconic as he would fix his gaze on his opponent, never breaking eye contact, conveying a sense of impending doom. Despite his dominance, Tyson was not without his critics. Some argued that Tyson relied too heavily on his power and aggression, neglecting the technical aspects of boxing. Critics pointed out that Tyson rarely fought off the back foot and struggled against taller opponents who could keep him at a distance with their reach. However, Tyson's ability to close the distance and unleash his powerful punches often neutralized these criticisms. As Tyson's career skyrocketed, his personal life spiraled out of control. The death of Cus D'Amato in 1985 was a devastating loss to Tyson, who had relied on D'Amato for guidance and stability. Without D'Amato, Tyson became increasingly vulnerable to outside influences. He began to surround himself with a questionable entourage, including promoter Don King, who many believe exploited Tyson for financial gain. Tyson's personal life was marked by tumultuous relationships and legal issues. His marriage to actress Robin Givens was highly publicized and ended in a bitter divorce, with Givens accusing Tyson of domestic abuse. Tyson's behavior outside the ring became increasingly erratic, and he began to lose focus on his boxing career. Tyson's first professional loss came on February 11, 1990, in one of the biggest upsets in sports history. Tyson faced James Buster Douglas in Tokyo, Japan, in what was expected to be an easy win. Tyson was a 42-1 favorite, and many believed that Douglas had no chance of winning. However, Tyson came into the fight underprepared and overconfident. He had not trained properly, and his personal life was in disarray. Douglas, on the other hand, fought the fight of his life. He outboxed Tyson from the opening bell, using his jab to keep Tyson at bay and landing powerful combinations. In the 10th round, Douglas landed a devastating uppercut, followed by a combination that sent Tyson to the canvas for the first time in his career. Tyson struggled to get up, but the referee counted him out, and Douglas was declared the winner. The loss to Douglas was a turning point in Tyson's career. It shattered his aura of invincibility and exposed the vulnerabilities that had been masked by his previous dominance. Tyson's lack of preparation, combined with his personal struggles, had finally caught up with him. Tyson's downward spiral continued after the Douglas fight. In 1992, he was convicted of rape and sentenced to 6 years in prison. Tyson's incarceration was a major setback in his career, and many believed that he would never return to the ring. However, Tyson was released on parole after serving 3 years and immediately began training for a comeback. His return to the ring in 1995 was met with much anticipation, and Tyson did not disappoint. He won his first 2 fights by knockout, and in 1996, he regained the WBC and WBA heavyweight titles, defeating Frank Bruno and Bruce Seldon, respectively. Tyson's comeback was short-lived. In November 1996, he faced Evander Holyfield, a former undisputed cruiserweight and heavyweight champion, in what was billed as "finally." Holyfield was considered past his prime, and many expected Tyson to win easily. However, Holyfield shocked the world by defeating Tyson in the 11th round by TKO, reclaiming the heavyweight title. The rematch, held on June 28, 1997, became one of the most infamous moments in sports history. Known as the Bite Fight, Tyson bit off a piece of Holyfield's ear during the 3rd round, leading to his disqualification and a suspension from boxing. The incident tarnished Tyson's legacy and marked the beginning of the end of his career. Tyson continued to fight after the Holyfield debacle, but he was never the same. He lost to British heavyweight Lennox Lewis in 2002 in a highly anticipated bout that ended in an 8th round knockout. Tyson's final professional fight took place in 2005 against Kevin McBride, a journeyman fighter. Tyson, clearly past his prime, quit on his stool after the 6th round, bringing an end to his illustrious but troubled career. Despite his controversial career, Mike Tyson remains one of the most iconic figures in sports history. His influence extends beyond boxing. Tyson is a cultural icon, known for his distinctive voice,
No man can take what you do. You just gotta believe it.
facial tattoo, and candid personality. He has appeared in movies, TV shows, and even his own one-man show, Undisputed Truth, where he shares stories from his tumultuous life. He was a true showman, and his ability to generate excitement and draw massive crowds helped revitalize the sport of boxing during the 1980s and 1990s. Tyson's legacy is complex. On one hand, he was one of the most dominant heavyweights in boxing history, with a prime that saw him dismantle nearly every opponent he faced. He remains one of the most feared fighters of all time. On the other hand, Tyson's career was marred by controversy, legal issues, and personal struggles. His inability to maintain his focus and discipline outside the ring ultimately led to his downfall. Tyson's prime was relatively short, and his later career was characterized by inconsistency and erratic behavior. So, how good was prime Mike Tyson actually? In his prime, Tyson was a once-in-a-lifetime talent, a fighter who combined raw power with incredible speed and technical skill. He was a force of nature in the ring, and his dominance during the late 1980s was unparalleled. Tyson's impact on the sport of boxing is still felt today, and his legacy as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time is secure. However, Tyson's career is also a cautionary tale. His rapid rise to fame, coupled with his personal struggles, ultimately led to his downfall. Tyson's prime was cut short by his inability to manage the pressures of fame and the temptations that came with it. While he remains a legendary figure in boxing, his career is a reminder of the importance of discipline, focus, and the support of those around you. Prime Mike Tyson was one of the most formidable fighters to ever step into the ring. His blend of power, speed, and aggression made him a nightmare for his opponents and a hero to his fans. Despite his later struggles, Tyson's prime years left an indelible mark on the sport of boxing. He may not have achieved the longevity of some of his peers, but during his prime, Mike Tyson was the baddest man on the planet, a title that will forever be associated with his name.
The inspiration of a lot of people. I brought some other people, some other interviewers who are going to help me out because you're an inspiration to them too. Now, what's wrong?
I'm scared of him.
You scared of this one? He's a sweetheart.
He's a real team.
Who would have won if you fought this man in your prime?
I was a dancing master.
Yeah, you were a dancer. You moved.
I wasn't that powerful. I was so fast.
Uh-huh.
If he hit me,
I'm vain. I know I'm great, but can I tell you something? In this situation, every head must bow, every tongue must confess. This is the greatest of all time.